The Joyful Heart Foundation has raised $14 million in order to produce a new documentary called Shelved. And the purpose of the documentary is to raise awareness about what's happening in America when it comes to unprocessed rape kits. It turns out that there are more than 400,000 unprocessed rape kits, and a lot of it has to do with underfunding and laziness, to keep it real. Now, Vice President Joe Biden has actually allocated a significant amount of money to ensure that local police departments do process these rape kits, about $35 million. But when you look at how much it costs to analyze DNA evidence, it costs a lot of money. But for some reason, we're usually very good about doing that. When it comes to analyzing rape kits, not so great. Now, let me tell you some more about sexual abuse in America. According to recent data, 1 in 3 women have experienced sexual violence in their lifetime. Now, that's not all rape cases. It could be sexual assault, and also about 3 in 100 rapists will ever spend a single day in jail.
It's an amazing number, man. It's hard to believe. You know, when you see sometimes the spate of rapes that happen in certain either subgroups, sometimes we see it in the military, etc., you wonder why. Jesus, why are all these rapes happening? Maybe if only 3% of the people ever spend any time in jail, it gives a message to all the others that it's open season on women.
Absolutely. So we have cases where women want to provide evidence that they've been raped. They go to the authorities immediately, they do the rape kit, which of course is a very difficult process for a woman to go through, right? And it just sits there. No one ever does anything about it. Of the rapes that are reported to the police, only about 1 out of 4 leads to an arrest, and of those arrests, only about 1 out of 4 leads to a conviction. So what would happen if we actually started looking at these rape kits and processing them? Well, we have some examples of major cities in the United States. After New York City processed its 17,000 kit backlog in 2001, the arrest rate for rape cases jumped from 40% to 70%. And also in Ohio, going through 4,000 kits led to 58 cases. And in Detroit, where an 11,000 kit backlog remains, analyzing the first 10% of its kit led law enforcement to 46 serial rapists.
That's, look at that number. That's amazing, man. 46 serial rapists out there. And they could have gotten them if they just looked at the rape kits, and they're sitting there in a closet. And then when they look at them, they're like, oh, good, okay, here we go. Now, how many people did those guys rape, you know, in the time that those rape kits were sitting in the closet somewhere? And thank God they looked at them at some point, because how many more would they have raped going forward? It's so disheartening. Look, one of the issues here is that people don't like to do their jobs, you know? Look, you got to keep it real. And unfortunately, some people have really important jobs, like processing rape kits, and they still don't want to do them. And like, who's got time? Oh, bureaucracy. The management didn't make it a priority, right?
Yeah.
Or the guy whose job was supposed to do it didn't want to do that many on that day and didn't think it was that big a deal. Meanwhile, in just one of the cases, you see that it's a 46 serial rapist difference, let alone all the other rapes, let alone all the other cities, right? You got to do your job, man.
So I like your hypothesis, and unfortunately we don't have like hardcore evidence to prove that people are lazy. Like no one does a study to see, oh, how does laziness impact these unprocessed rape kits, right? But I think that there's that mentality. There's also the mentality of, okay, well, if it's a sexual assault or rape incident, it's not as serious as other things. Other things take priority over that, and I think that's a really terrible way to look at it, because again, in the cases that we mentioned, I mean, all of these serial rapists got caught after these rape kits were processed. And that's what you want to do. You want to ensure that these crimes don't get committed again and again. And to go back to the issue of cost, right? It'll cost anywhere between $500 to $1,500 to process each rape kit. If you want to analyze what's happening with child pornography or something like that on a computer, that costs around $5,000, right? So something like that is a priority, but when it comes to processing these rape kits, it's not a priority.
No, look, this is not a debatable issue. I don't care if it goes $500 or $1,500.
Yeah.
If someone you love was raped, Are you going to be worth? Oh no, well, I wouldn't want the state to spend $500 to investigate who did it.
No,
that's mental.
I totally agree with you, Cenk. But again, the only reason why I bring that up is because some people will say that cost is the dominant factor in this.
No, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's not.
Unfortunately, I think that does come into play.
It does, but it's not as significant as people think it is. I'm saying it doesn't cost as much as people think it does.
But I hear you on that, but I bet you a lot of the people that making the calculations are like, that's extra money I got to spend.
Yeah,
well,
that's probably happening.
I got to move money around in the budget, and the bottom line on all of that is they have higher priorities. And other than murder, I don't know what should be a higher priority than rape.